Yes, dear.
But yeah, Alundra is the
There,
obscure
dear.
game that I would want remastered.
You know, that reminds me of Dragon. Oh boy, Dragon Monster Rancher,
Huh.
which was by Enix before they before Square. Yeah, yeah. Look at this. Don't touch me in my in my swimsuit zone. But and it was basically Pokemon, but better. It wasn't boring like Pokemon is. And yeah, I'm sorry to
like,
tell this
edgy
to all you
monsters in
kiddies. Pokemon is fucking boring.
They had like edgy monsters in Monster Rancher. I remember everybody liked the wolf that had like a unicorn horn, and he was also voiced by Piccolo.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about a DS game. There was no voices.
Oh, there was a show.
Oh.
Of course, there was a show.
Okay.
It was a show that had monsters. It was a franchise that had monsters in it. Of course, there was a show for Monster Rancher.
Okay. Oh, I'm talking about the game, not the monster. I'm just saying that's another franchise which wish would return because it was interesting, unlike Pokemon. I mean, at least the Pokemon manga had some interesting parts to it, such as Jessie having boobs. I forgot I could do this. Oh, but can I? That's not gonna help. Let's see what happens. Oh, she does help. She just can't help you that much. She brings her back to herself. Unfortunately, I can't... Where the hell is she? Oh, she's over there. Okay. I was going the right way,
She's
but
able
I
to
kept on passing her. I was supposed to attack her.
She was able to magic you out of danger, but she's not able to magic out of her situation.
Well, that's how much she likes you. It's her... Oh, I did get to her. Like an idiot. Why was I ignoring her? Or maybe I went to the wrong side. There we go. Hi-ya!
Oh, good. Another illusion. I needed the exercise.
Oh, I was over here all the time.
Where are you?
I'm sorry for your wasted effort.
Where are you, honey?
She was straight across from where you're standing.
I see her.
Don't you want to be together in her hour of need?
So, there was other news.
Stay on your stage.
Yeah, which one do you want to talk about?
Pick one and go with it.
We got to talk about Unreal Engine.
Oh, yes. So, they demoed the... they demoed Unreal Engine 5 on the PS5.
Yes, and they introduced a couple new tools that are in the new build of Unreal Engine.
Went wrong place. Oh, she's on the other side. Damn you!
Can you jump to the ledge from there?
I wish I could, but no. I have to go this way. I see which way I'm supposed to go.
Sneaky, sneaky. But yeah, Unreal Engine 5. So, like, the biggest thing, everybody was mad that they didn't show off a game because it was Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest stream for that day. Which...
So this is the place I was going
they
before,
showed up,
and she wasn't there. Now I finally went the right way. Okay. Oh, there she goes. So you were saying Jeff Keighley's...
So it was the topic of one of Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest streams. And the big thing about it was that they had two new technologies that were like a core part of... should I wait until after this boss fight?
So one of the things that I can say about it is that it shows really how much it'll be to have a SSD, because most PCs can't do that because they don't have SSDs. And being able to have that speed, access to that speed, I think Elika has to help me here. There we go. For fuck's sake.
So two of the major technology additions that were shown off in this Unreal Engine 5 demo were Lumen, which is a means to create easy light sources that are like easy dynamic light sources, and also basically you don't have to pre-bake light sources into the map. You can move them around on the fly, and so you get effects like the sun changing position, or like shadows casting over statues, or like light slipping through cracks in a ceiling and moving as the light moves overhead, which is incredible. But in this you also had what was the other thing? I'm trying to remember.
Well, here's the thing.
Just a sec here. Nanite was the other thing, which is a means to put like a ton of polygons together and to create a shape like more easier than before. And we're talking about like thousands upon thousands of millions of triangles pushed and packed into a shape to give it like the form that you're looking for. And like they're talking about streamlining work that otherwise would have taken like forever to do before.
Yeah, I finally defeated her. So here's the thing, at least that showed that the graphics that you see in the Hellblade 2, people were doubting it, saying that cannot possibly be rendered graphics. But no, it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have an SSD, the rate of transfer of data is really important in these games. And it doesn't matter how powerful the processor you have is. It doesn't matter how great the ray tracing software you have is. If you're not getting that data fast enough, it's meaningless.
Yeah. And, like, people complain that it wasn't like a game that was shown off, but, like, this is so much bigger than a game. This is going to be something that, like, once they release these tools to the public, it's going to not only streamline design, like 3D design and art and games, but it's also going to be something that they can use across other entertainment media. Like, they talked about using it in, like, a season of The Mandalorian.
I frankly couldn't care less about The Mandalorian.
Yeah, well, a lot of people could care
don't.
more. Could care
Baby
about
fucking
Mandalorian,
Yoda.
but the fact of the matter is, like, it's something that they're using. The point I'm getting at is that it's something that they're not just using in games. This is a game changer in entertainment media as a whole.
Well, the thing that I got from it, which is even more important, is that they also announced that licensing for the Unreal 5 engine would be absolutely 100% free.
Oh yeah, because they used to have it to where, like,
you'd have to pay them amount after getting $5,000. They would take a healthy chunk of the profits from your game as part of licensing fees for it.
They would take a percentage off of whatever you made for the game, like up to a certain point.
But you know what happened?
And they're moving away from that.
You know what happened? Fortnite happened, and the Epic Games Store happened, and now they find they don't need money. What they want are games to put on the Epic Games Store. So the more games that are out there, the more games they can put on their store, the more money they can make.
Right. I mean, Epic Games is pretty much printing money at this point.
So. And the entire point of having the Epic Games Store, remember way back when it opened, I think it was 2 years ago, was they were talking about how they could slash the amount of money that they make off sales of the games and still make a profit, which basically kneecapped Valve, because Valve was taking a big cut, and they said, you know what, we don't need to take that big a cut. Hey, developers, do you want us to not eat most of your money? Well, be in our store. We're going to take a lot less money from you. And that's why, 2K has better watch it with NBA 2K, because, the second that someone comes with a basketball game that's halfway decent, people are going to just flock to it.
Yeah. Right now, Valve takes a 30% cut off of games that are put on
It's
Steam.
not the right way to go.
And so, like, we're talking 70-30. And that's a lot when you think about it.
What did Epic say again? They're taking like 18? Not sure. Something ridiculous. Something ridiculously undercutting Valve, anyway. But yeah, I mean, technology is going to be. I mean, the graphics were impressive, but that's not going to impress me in the long run, because you're always going to have the movement towards better graphics. The thing that impresses me, A, is the fact that developers are going to have access to those tools now without having to pay an arm and a leg for it. And B, go ahead.
I was going to say, Epic takes only a 12% of revenue from any of the games on their store, and they actually...
Yeah, they ran the numbers. They showed people the numbers for it.
Yeah, so, like, we're talking about the difference between 70-30 and 88-12.
You do math.
Here we go.
That's fun.
But you're right.
No,
it's
not
like
that stupid.
We're already seeing a lot of different graphics development in the next generation. What's impressive to me about the Unreal Engine 5 is how much they're going out of their way to make these new graphical advancements streamlined and easier to use.
Well, that was always the thing with me and well, not me, but well, actually me, because I'm going the wrong direction. Is that the first? I mean, I did map making on Duke Nukem with the build engine, but no, not that way. I know there's a shiny thing over there. I don't care about that shiny thing. But the first serious map making I did was for Unreal Tournament, the original Unreal Tournament, and I used Unreal Ed, and it was very easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is that, you know, a lot of people use the Epic Unreal Engine because it's very easy to program with.
Yes, and making it easier, like creating high fidelity tools, like high quality tools that don't lose quality when you're transferring assets. All of that translates to making game design easier and more accessible. And when it's more easy and more accessible, you have more game developers that can make better and more games.
And basically,
which will eventually end up on the Epic Games Store.
The operative word, of course, is more games. So, and let's combine that with what Microsoft's doing with Game Pass. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this, but one of the things that Splash Damage and the Coalition said about Gears Tactics is that being on Game Pass allowed them to experiment. And they didn't care about how many units they were going to sell of Gears Tactics, because they didn't have to worry. Because obviously, if you're on Game Pass, it's a free game, so you're not worried about how many units you sell. It's about having content on the service, and having a variety of services. Like, hey, if you like turn-based tactical, we have a new turn-based tactical game here, and you don't have to worry about losing money, buying a bad game because it's free. And a lot of people who normally wouldn't even try a turn-based tactical game, but they do like Gears, will try it out and say, hey, I actually like this. So the point is that you have a developer, they have an engine, a powerful engine that they can use for free. That's also easy to use. You have Microsoft, and I think Sony's going to have a similar service at some point. And I know they have PS Plus. It's not quite the same thing. But you also have other services, But the point is that you'll have more games, more people doing experimental games. Because one of the biggest complaints everybody has, and I have it too, is that a lot of games are alike. Oh, it's another shooter clone game that's aping off Call of Duty. Oh, it's yet another open world game. Oh, it's another Ubisoft style open world game. You know, one thing that developers, I mean major publishers, are allergic to is taking chances.
Let me guess.
Even though
Fertile ground.
you can't really, you know, the games that take chances, make more money. You know, when they come out, and then they say people don't know what they want until they actually have it.
I'll be fine.
Yeah,
I mean, nope.
and
No.
it's cool to see what Unreal Engine 5 is offering, because ultimately it makes the space that much more approachable, accessible. It allows people to do different things and explore different ideas and try different opportunities.
So now we have, this is not the hunter, this is the soldier. Who's a big hulking guy.
He looks lumpy.
He is also the only of the afflicted that is not terribly evil. Oh, this is the prince, that's right.
Armin is not your master.
See, that's why she's saying listen to your honor and all that chunk, because he is the only character here who's not actually evil. He's just cursed. But here's the other thing, is that you look at the pretty graphics that you see, and people say it's not the big developers who are going to really benefit as much as the small developers making small games, because, like I said, the biggest thing about the Unreal Engine is that it's easy to use.
Free to use.
Ah, fuck. So, moving on.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what they do with that engine in the coming year, because like it's supposed to come out next year in 2021. They're moving Fortnite over to it next year, and then they're going to make the tools available
Trying to
to
pick him
people.
up. There's no way you're going to be able to pick this guy up.
But yeah, let's see here. Oh, right. So, Mafia is getting... The whole Mafia trilogy is getting a definitive edition collection.
Yeah, so last podcast we had reported there was a tweet. Get out of here. That, the Mafia Game Twitter account suddenly came alive and just said family. And we speculated what it was going to be like. And, a lot of people wanted Mafia 2 remastered, and it looks like we're going to get Mafia 1 through 3 remastered.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to see a lot more of that, because we do have the 8th generation of consoles coming up, and people are going to, people are going to try and sell the same old games over again on the new platforms. As a matter of fact, I spoke with somebody who said that we're getting a remastered Mass Effect trilogy. It hasn't been announced yet, but I'm down for that, so long as I get everything in all the DLC. Why aren't you showing me where I'm supposed to go, honey?
You were a fan of the second one, right?
I'm a fan of all three of them.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I know
thought
there's a
you were
lot
a
of
fan of
people who
third
don't like Mass Effect 3. I'm not one of them. I was disappointed with the ending, but I didn't say this is the worst ending ever.
It wasn't Armin. This is Ormaz's.
And the other thing is that I knew that Mass Effect 3 was released before it was ready. Oh, I forgot I have to do this. Before I start moving off, you have to heal the land. So yeah, I never really got a chance to play Mafia 1. Now, here's the thing. I knew in Mafia 2 that the characters late in the game visit the character from Mafia 1 and kill him, which happens in the end of Mafia 1. But hey, you're playing the guys who killed the guy from Mafia 1. I didn't play Mafia 1, but I knew that was what was going on. It was kind of obvious.
Yeah. So I
think we can get out.
played through Mafia 2. And I pretty much was the same as you. And I also played through Mafia 3.
I played a little bit of Mafia 3 and I hated it. I'm not alone.
It was
either.
janky, but
And the story was just bad.
There you go.
Oh, I liked the story.
I think Yahtzee Croshaw pointed out the problems with the story a lot better than I could. If anybody wants to know the problems I have with Mafia 3, just watch Yahtzee Crowshaw's review of it. Nothing but his guts and help from a shadowy U.S. organization. So, the main problem I have with the Mafia games, though, is that they profess to be an open world, but basically they're very, very linear. And the open world is...
They were a very early open world game, and
no, stop it. They were not... Here's the thing, the Grand Theft Auto games, there's a purpose to wandering around. There was no reason to wander around in Mafia. It was not an...
I want to see when the first Mafia came out and when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out.
Here's the other problem. I don't care about Mafia 1 and what it did because we know it when Mafia 2 came out and what it did.
Yeah,
Grand Theft
Auto 3
raised the stakes.
Grand Theft Auto 3 came out in 2001, and the first Mafia came out in 2002.
But even so, even if you want to say, well, it was an early... Oh, damn it. Even if you want to say it was an early, open world game, it still didn't stop the fact that Mafia 2 had Grand Theft Auto 4, I believe, came out before it.
Oh, what I was getting at with that is saying that, like, it was a lot of the time that they were exploring was, like, making these vast spaces, like, look at the city we created! But they didn't know how to fill it with interesting things to do.
Oh, for one, I thought that was the goo.
And that's the issue of the Mafia games, in my opinion, is that, like, you have this vast city, there's nothing to do in it.
Can I kill it? Nope. Too late. I keep on doing the trigger way too late. Oh, guess what? He put himself in the perfect place for me just to push him off.
You're right, by the way. Grand Theft Auto 4 came out in 2008, and Mafia 2 came out in 2010.
Oh, I know it came out in 2010 because I met with the dev team and they gave me a letter jacket.
Yeah.
It was really high quality too. Unfortunately,
You still...
No, I don't still have it because of unfortunate circumstances that involves family
That's
members.
a shame.
So I will say no more about it.
Understood. But yeah, you're right then, in that case. There really is no excuse because Grand Theft Auto 4 does have a lot of things to do. In fact, Grand Theft Auto 4 has too many things to do.
Yeah,
Your cousin won't shut the hell up and stop calling you.
Unfortunately, the way they resolved that problem in Grand Theft Auto 5 is they just made the people that you're with completely unlikable.
Michael's not so bad, and Franklin's not so bad.
Franklin is the... Here's the thing. Franklin is a complainer, and he's just... None of them are good people. I mean, yeah, I know Trevor is the most obvious douchebag. Well, not even douchebag, just psychopath. And at least I get the point of Trevor. Trevor is basically a real Grand Theft Auto player if he was in real life. He represents how people would react to what you do in Grand Theft Auto in real life if you were to do it. Michael complains about, I have so much money, but it's given me nothing. How will I solve my problems? Getting more money! As a crook, I got so much money, all my ill-gotten gains. How am I gonna cure that? I'm just gonna become even a bigger crook and have even more ill-gotten gains. And here's the thing, I like the heist mechanic, but it was just they only had 4 missions, and you used the same people twice, and I know why it was there. It was there to introduce the heist mechanic in Grand Theft Auto Online. But I don't want to deal with other people. People suck. I want to have, They could have turned it into a great single-player mission mode.
Yeah, it's kind of strange how they did like several different story additions to the Grand Theft Auto 4. They haven't done that with Grand
They
Theft
don't
Auto
need to.
5.
Grand Theft Auto 5 is still
They
making
just
money
did
on
it.
its own.
That's what I was saying. They just did Grand Theft Auto Online and just like said, okay, we'll just keep putting stuff in this forevermore. Single player's done.
So it makes me wonder if that means we're not going to see a Red Dead Redemption 3 anytime soon because you have Red Dead Online.
Everybody wants to see Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah, that's coming. I mean, at some point, I mean, even Bethesda is saying, yeah, we've milked the hell out of Elder Scrolls 5. There's just so long we can milk, that game. So we're gonna have to do. Where am I supposed to go?
I mean, like, people really, really want to see Grand Theft Auto 6 to the point where, like, we had a tweet on Shack News that Rockstar liked.
Yeah.
And just people came out of the woodwork. It had nothing to do with Grand Theft Auto whatsoever. And they came out of the woodwork like, "When's Grand Theft Auto 6?"
Well, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I mean, if enough people say, "Where's Grand Theft Auto 6?" It might tell Rockstar, it's time to make more money. Because whenever they release a Grand Theft Auto game, they're basically printing money.
So, like, and I've seen this in Rockstar's other tweets. It brings out a whole bunch of people that were, like, immediately like, when is Grand Theft Auto 6? And then it also brings out a whole bunch of people that yell at other people for asking when is Grand Theft Auto 6. It's like a little culture confined within itself, just living in Rockstar tweets yelling at each other.
That just reminds me of I don't know. I wonder if Bungie gets the same thing. When are you going to make another Halo, man? What are you talking about? We have this. We have Destiny. Don't you want Destiny? No.
Yeah.
I know you have a special hate on for Destiny.
Well, that's because it's
Yeah,
boring.
I had the same snooze-a-thon with that as well. I played the first Destiny, and MMOs just don't work with shooters for the most part. I mean, you have the planet sides, that can work. But that's because the players are creating their own story. Get out of here. Ah, damn.
Destiny is just too grindy for its own good.
I just stabbed him. I don't even need to push him off anything. I just stabbed him. She wants to talk to me, but not until I'm actually doing a real playthrough. Oops.
But yeah, I'm not, like, Destiny is just too grindy for its own good. Everything takes doing the same repetitive task over and over and over again ad nauseum until you get just enough to move forward to something cool.
You're fighting the same enemies, and the only difference they have is a different color. It's like palette-shaded idiots. What?
Yeah.
Just another, hey, look, it's a... Oh, guess what I have to do? I have to start doing some Crash Bandicoot again.
It isn't mine. It is dedicated to the women who ruled here.
That makes it yours.
My father is still king. He speaks for the world.
Here's the thing. Now, you have the God of Evil, the God of Darkness, who is, Look at this. This is what happens. It's like, just like Crash Bandicoot, you really can't see in front of you. So you're saying, but where's the God of Light? Well, you have Ormazd. Unfortunately, Ormazd doesn't really... Oh, I was supposed to press Y. See? I was... And he's not helping anybody. He's not an evil god, he just doesn't give a shit. Or he has people do it for him. But you don't expect any help from him.
Yeah.
I read somewhere it's sort of like the Zoroastrian god of light. I don't know anything about Zoroastrianism, but the idea that God doesn't give a shit about you is not a new concept.
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm saying. Slowly gets trickier and trickier, and you have things in your way like this that you have to react to. Like this here, it's just right in front of you.
And if you miss on one of these, you have to go all the way back to the beginning.
Well, you have to go to the last one, or you have to go to some checkpoint. And here's the thing: a lot of the checkpoints are all the way back in the beginning. Not all of them, but enough of them that I start dreading these. Look at this. And yeah, you notice that there wasn't enough visual time for me to react. It's sort of, like I said, it's sort of like Crash Bandicoot in that way.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I have to go up. That was wrong. Oh, well.
More green things.
More green things to wall run on. This sort of reminds me of the Bayonetta scenes when you're up. Oh, guess who we have to fight again? I know there was something else that we were supposed to talk about.
Let's see. Paper Mario.
Ah, yes. So Paper Mario is back.
Paper Mario Origami King.
I'd like to say I care about Paper Mario, but they haven't been very good. They've been... The original Paper Mario was self-referential, but it was never sucking its own dick like the new one wants to.
The writing in them has always been good.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. The writing has not been good, as in it's like the late seasons of a sitcom in which they spat out a catchphrase, then expect the audience to hoot and holler when they hear it. Like, yeah, I said my catchphrase, now you can cheer. I try to pick him up and I forget. You can't pick this guy up.
The new Paper Mario trailer starts with Princess Peach being all evil looking and asking Mario if he'll crease himself like her.
Did it again. Yeah. Keep going.
Well, and it kind of sounds dirty. Like, I don't know what she's inviting him to do, but whatever, it doesn't matter what you choose. She betrays you because she's being taken over by whatever he's in. Which brings me to my next point. I always knew that origami was the most nefarious of papercraft.
It always reminds me of it always reminds me of what Yahtzee. I hate to bring up Yahtzee Croshaw again, but he always says after meaningless pity sex between the two.
But I don't know. The last big Paper Mario hit was the Thousand-Year Door, which everybody loves. And then they've had a Paper Mario on every system, on every Nintendo system. So there have been 3 more since then. Because Thousand-Year Door was GameCube. Then they did one on Wii. Then they did one on 3DS. Then they did one on Wii U.
So you might guess that what I'm trying to do is what you're trying to do is you notice I can't hurt him, so you're supposed to use Elika to knock him off the ledge. Get out of here. And then you have to do this. Get out of here. Woo!
That guy sure takes a lot of falls.
Well, at the very end, you do get to take him out permanently. But like I said, he's the one of the 4 bosses who is not evil. And now let's make this place pretty.
But yeah, so
here's the thing:
do
yourself a favor, do a Google search, and I'm telling this to everybody else. Google search Prince of Persia 2008 and Penny Arcade, and you'll see the story, and it's kind of a depressing story. But, you know, you can always give it a chance. Give Paper Mario a chance. There's always this thing. And, you know, you may like A Thousand-Year Door, but that wasn't the one that I think people that I like. Super Paper Mario RPG.
I've never known a queen.
I think was that the first paper?
You still don't.
Super Mario RPG.
Mario RPG was not a Paper Mario game, but it was. They made it in conjunction with Square Enix. It's like one of the last things Square Enix did with Nintendo.
No, because here's the thing. Paper Mario is actually basically an RPG, just with some platforming.
Oh no, I was just saying that Super
No, I
Mario
know, I'm
RPG
trying to remember the
was
name
the
of
last
it, though.
time
There was
Square Enix worked
one of the
on it.
first Paper Marios. It wasn't the first one. It was I think it was like the second one.
You're doing a good job.
Paper Mario was the first one, and then Paper Mario Thousand Year Door was
Okay,
the
then
second
maybe
one.
I'm thinking of the Thousand Year Door then.
And the priestesses, the donkeys, and
Yeah,
Hey,
but the
you
prince
know,
really just wants to show off his abs.
But like the ones that have come out with aren't bad. They are just like not the best.
Why do people who want to
Which
dance
is-
around don't want to say they're not good?
They're not because they're not bad. They're like they're 7 out of 8s, or they're 7 out of 10s. They're still cheeky. They still
Look at
have
this.
some
Now watch
interesting
this
stuff.
Defiance of Gravity.
They're still cheeky. They still have some fun in them. They're just not as good as Thousand Year Door.
You enjoy his little Defiance of Gravity that time? What am I doing?
This guy's always defying gravity. Like I gave up on trying to think about whether or not I could.
Yeah, but this. Get out of my way, honey. I'm trying to go down. There we go. Look. Nee, 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 nee.
Yeah, that thing right there. Like what? How?
The thing about this is that I have to remember he does a little hop up before I press jump, because what am I not getting here? There's something I'm not getting, so Ella can help me out here.
Hold on. Don't let go.
Oh, I have to choose a new direction. Destination. Oh, okay, I'll go here. So, is there any other news items that we have to talk about?
Let's see.
And
And then Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to be the free game on Epic Games Store this week.
yeah. I'd be excited, except I hate that game. See, and the problem is, like I said before, it has nothing to do with the quality of the game. It has to do with that I
Yeah, who
just
d-
don't want to play those characters.
You know who doesn't hate that game?
Everybody else.
The literally thousands of people that stormed the Epic Games Store and crashed it today. Like, Epic Games Store has been crashed since about noon today.
Wow.
One of my colleagues reported that he finally did get in, and everything was in Spanish. So, like, not only like people were so nutterbutters over getting a free copy of Grand Theft Auto 5 that they crashed Epic Games Store, flipped it upside down, and turned it Spanish.
Well, here's the thing: is that there's a reason why. When did they first come out? 2012? I know it was 2013.
It was early enough to still be an Xbox 360 game.
But here's the point.
2013.
Yeah. So this is a 7-year-old game, and yeah, it's not that there's still games that are popular 7 years later, but the game's still fucking full price on a lot of systems to buy. You'd never know it was a game that old, because guess what? They're still selling it for the. That was stupid. They're still selling it for full price.
Yeah. And the way they legitimize that is by saying, well, there's Grand Theft Auto Online, and we're still making content for it that's new.
Yeah, they're also making a lot of money from Grand Theft Auto Online, so that it's not like they're not making any money, and that's the entire reason why they're making it free, is that they're getting a crap ton of money just having people play Grand Theft Auto Online. They don't need to sell any more copies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why they gave away. Ubisoft gave away the first Assassin's Creed at one point, because Assassin's Creed 2 was going to make them money. Of course, Assassin's Creed 2 wasn't a live game service, which is what Grand Theft Auto Online is. And that's one of the down parts of modern gaming, is that alternative way of making money. They stop making games and start making loot box games as service crap. And there's some of us, you know, and the problem is I'm gonna be a little bit, I'm gonna put a stereotype here, but a lot of us who are over the age of 30 don't care. Oh, I did it again. Don't care about stuff like Fortnite. I don't care about Grand Theft Auto Online. I don't care about Red Dead Online. Although I will say I did try it for the first time, Red Dead Online. And here's the thing, I bought the collector's edition, so I should have had a lot of crap for buying the collector's edition. I didn't see any of it. I bought it and it was not, you know, I got nothing out of it for paying extra, which is sort of sad.
It's a bummer.
Maybe there was some probably some expiration date that I didn't know I had to deal with. There we go. And it was fun. I mean, only once did somebody just snipe me for no reason. Otherwise, I had, you know, doing missions with other people. And I will say this about the character design in Red Dead Redemption Online. When I'm on with other players, it looks like I'm playing with game-made characters. People really roleplay in that, and they look like, you know, characters from the old West or Hollywood Old West. Am I supposed to open these doors?
Yeah.
Guess not. Must be an opening here somewhere. Elika, honey, where am I supposed to go?
Show us the way, Elika.
Any other news?
Well, the last thing we actually have is very relevant to this. Recently, footage of a canceled Prince of Persia game came up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
it looks wild.
Here's the thing about that era. Now, one thing that people may not know about Prince of Persia is that after the first of the trilogy... Oh, look at this. After the first of the trilogy, Ubisoft, and I think this was a mid-2000s thing, decided to make the prince really, really emo. Wore black. He was basically like Batman from the Batman movie, Lego Batman movie. I like everything.
Yeah, they
black.
really got into that. They really got into that two sides of the thing.
Not only that, but he was just black and moody and dour, and just people thought he was a tosspot. Which is.
So in this new one, they got or I'm sorry, in this canceled footage.
He looked like General Zod from Man of Steel in that footage.
Yeah, that isn't far off.
It looked like it was an open world too. I don't know if it was.
He was moving through a city, like that was under siege by demons, and also a giant Cthulhu squid. Lots of tentacles, lots of buildings falling over underneath the tentacles.
Well, tentacles are taking are an homage to this game because there's tentacles galore in this game.
Yeah.
And like I said, he looked like the dour, life is pain, Prince of Persia.
Yeah, there was a. This was just a YouTube video that was sitting on.
Well, here's the thing: it wasn't just a YouTube video. It was actually, yeah, it was. It wasn't something that was hidden away. I mean, it was just obscure.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't sitting on an official Ubisoft channel. It wasn't sitting on like a Prince of Persia game channel. It was sitting on this channel called Positive Launcher.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Which has 416 subscribers. And, like, this is the one video that's been on it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seemed like, now, I did an entire article about Ultima Online 10, Ultima 10 Online, and there was a lot of videos from E3 and all that people never saw about how Ultima 10 Online was going to work. And it's sort of that thing, in which it's there if you want to find out about it, but you have to look for it, So what did you think? Did that look like a Prince of Persia game you'd play?
I mean, it looked like a Prince of Persia game. I don't know if it was one that I'd play.
Does this look like a Prince of Persia game you'd play?
This does, because it has so many different aesthetic choices to it that are just fun to me.
Now, here's my advice to all of you who would like to try this out. Don't get the PC version if you own an Xbox One or an Xbox 360. Get the Xbox 360 version, which is backwards compatible on Xbox One. Buy it from the store so you can play the Epilogue DLC, which actually ramps up the difficulty a bit and adds more to the story. So, anyways, I think that's as good as a way as any to end this podcast or this video. So, if you want,
yeah, this was fun. I would actually
yeah,
go back and try this game, having watched it.
yeah. I mean, here's the demo for people who didn't know anything about it. And like I said, 8 years have passed. Wait, 8 years? No, 12 years. 12 years have passed. It can now stand on its own. And here's the thing about this game is that it has not aged one bit. I mean, some of the mechanics may seem a little bit primitive because now you can do, when you're doing parkour in games, you can do a lot more than just wall run and stuff like that. But in terms of dialogue and story and graphics, this game really holds up. And by the way, you can visit anything you see. See, I'm gonna have to visit that area all the way over there at some point. And it's funny, games only recently, I think, like Dark Souls was one of the first games to really boast the fact that if you can see it in the distance, you can get to it. But yeah, it's on the store in the Xbox. If you don't have an Xbox, you can get it on Steam. And the Steam graphics will be better because it's a PC and you can get higher resolutions. But yeah, I mean, this game has not aged at all. You can find TJ at Shack News, whatever. Have you reviewed anything lately?
I actually just put out a preview for Crusader Kings 3.
Oh, so that's an interesting story we have to talk about another time, because I tried to install Crusader Kings 2 from Gamersgate, and little did I know that Gamersgate and Paradox had a little tiff like 7 years ago that I had no idea about. And now Crusader Kings 2 is no longer supported. You can download it. At one point they were offering Steam codes to people who bought the game and the DLC. And now the game, Crusader Kings 2 is just free on Steam now. Because they make their money from selling all the DLC. And God, there's so much DLC. To get Crusader Kings 2 and all the DLC, I think is like $100 and some odd. $150 maybe? I'm not sure. I'd have to check Steam. But yeah, and that reminds me of a game that I've been playing called Old World, which is basically Civilization and Crusader Kings had a baby. You're playing Civilization, but you have all the political intrigue that you have in Crusader Kings. But yeah,
yeah.
Now here's the question for you: Crusader Kings 2 is already pretty deep, and getting through all the game mechanics is a chore. Does Crusader Kings 3 at least streamline that, or does it just add to the mess?
They did a really good job creating meaningful additions to the mechanics that make engaging with your character or other characters more fun.
Yeah. The entire point.
They also added a whole bunch of accessible systems, like a tooltip system that literally there's so many glossary terms in that game that you're looking at it as what the hell does that mean and what does it affect?
Here's the thing. That was the main problem with me in Crusader Kings. I mean, the original and the new version both have their little tutorials, but damn it, just give me a deep manual and I'll be happy. Or at least have tooltips so I knew what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, so they did that. So basically, if you see a term you don't recognize, all you have to do is hover over it, and it will tell you what it's about and what it affects. And if there's other terms that you don't recognize in that tooltip, then you can hover over those, and it will open up another tooltip, and you can go as far as you need to. And then as soon as you hover away, it just all goes away. It's super easy to use, and I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Because here's the thing. One thing I like about Crusader Kings 2 is the pop-ups and the events, because that really gives it its spice. You find out that your child is the evil one, and he's demonic. What do? Oh God. Do you want to keep him your heir?
So they added this new system in there that's really interesting. They have all these qualities for different characters. Like, you could have a king that's an impatient, wrathful king, and those two qualities give them certain, like, bonuses or penalties. Like, a wrathful king is... they'll cause more dread, and which will cause people to fear them and keep them under control to a certain extent. And they'll have more ability in war and, like, martial status as a result of that. But they won't be good in... but they'll take a penalty to diplomacy because of that.
They're evil.
And, here's where that comes into interesting effects. As you deal with events in the game, you'll come across choices that will, like, go with or against that wrathful quality. If you choose against that wrathful quality, you'll give your character stress, and if they get too much stress, then they'll start to suffer health and, like, ability penalties.
Yeah. This is going to go down a rabbit hole because he said stress. It reminded me of a board game in which you play hospital staff trying to keep a guy who suffered a massive heart attack alive as long as possible to learn his story. I forgot the name of it, but it's been out for 2 years. But this is not the Board Games podcast. Anyways, you can read his preview of Crusader Kings 3, and you can find our podcast at GamingPodcast.net. And we will see you next week. I know we had to delay last week because TJ had stuff to do, and it was business stuff, so it had to take a back.
Yeah.
This had to take a back seat.
But I will be back next week
And
again.
we will pick another game. I was thinking about doing Old World, but you know what? I'm going to see if there isn't a game that we both can't play at the same time.
Sure.
Anyways, thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.
Happy game. Or, I'm sorry.
No, this is not Gaming Podcast.
Have fun. Take care. Play games,
Bye-bye.
y'all.
D. Okay, and now I can... I didn't record. No, I'm kidding. Stop